Welcome back. Well, there's certainly been a lot of debate this week over food allergies and when to expose your child to peanuts and eggs, for example. The Canadian Pediatric Society has reversed its long-held position and now says you may not have to avoid exposing your child to these foods. You can even start as young as 6 months. We want to discuss this and what we can do about food allergies in general. Dr. Olivia Rose, naturopathic doctor, is here with some answers. I tell you, as a parent, and I'm sure a lot of parents out there are going, what? Really?
Yeah.
I'm totally confused and frustrated because now what? Now what do we do?
I know, I'm getting a lot of questions about this week. And what I'm telling parents is really, bottom line is you have to go with your comfort level. So
Okay.
a prime example is a family who has a child who's 5 years old who has severe peanut allergies. They have a toddler now and they're really scared to introduce peanuts into their home. So I think you have to look at the individual and make those choices accordingly. And the other thing is that although it's important to, I think, re-examine those recommendations, and I think that's always important, it's also important to look at other possible causes because the causes for food allergies can be multifactorial. The environment and environmental pollutants being one aspect of that. There was one study that came out last year that showed one specific antibacterial called dichlorophenol. Name doesn't really matter, but we use it as an antibacterial pesticide and as a chlorination product. Actually, the higher levels of it found in the urine was actually linked to higher levels of food allergies. So I think it's important to look at,
so many factors involved in it, and these are some of the culprits, right? I mean, we're looking at soy, nuts, eggs. These are the big ones.
Yeah, these represent 90% of all food allergies.
Really?
There's 8 foods. So.
And we've seen a significant increase in the number of allergies over the years.
Yeah, there's been an 18% increase between 1997 and 2007 for food allergies.
So what do you do, first of all, when you have them? And first of all, to avoid getting them in the first place, if that's even possible.
Yeah, well, when you have them, you want to avoid the foods that are the culprits. You want to make sure that you're eating really well, optimizing your nutrition, taking things like vitamin C, good bacteria, the probiotics, because that's the issue with some of these environmental chemicals, the fact that they are disrupting our good bacteria. I call them our security guards. They help the body tolerate foods better. They help us to establish what we should trust in our system and what we shouldn't. So exposure to the good bacteria earlier, the better. So there was a study actually for pregnant women taking probiotics. Their children were less likely to develop food allergies.
So it prevented in the first place,
Exactly.
so it's not even an issue.
Yeah. I mean, if you have food allergies, make sure that you take your EpiPen. There's mine right there, to make sure you have it with you. You also want to, because we are trying to do some more research into whether there is a pesticide link here, it's important to try to eat cleanly, eat organically. These represent the dirty dozen. So if you can avoid,
right here. Okay.
so if you can avoid buying these conventionally, especially if you're eating a lot of kale, for example, you can avoid your exposure to those pesticide residues.
Pesticides is the big issue.
Yeah.
No, if you have an allergy, a food allergy, let's say at the age of 6.
Yeah.
By age 20, is it possible that that will no longer be an issue?
Yeah, that's possible. Some people do grow out of food allergies. Some people also grow out of food intolerances, and there is a difference there. So food allergies is the response to the immune system to a specific protein in a food. A food intolerance usually represents more of a digestive link.
Okay.
So, symptoms so think about lactose intolerance, for example, versus a milk allergy. There's a protein in the milk that you're reacting to when you have a food allergy. When you have a food intolerance, a lactose intolerance, the body doesn't have lactase, a specific enzyme required to actually break down the milk sugar. So it's a little bit of a difference there.
Now, there's a lot of information here, but one of the common threads here is probiotics. You keep going back to that. You really think this is one of the things to help, I mean, first of all, in your pregnancy. And then later in life. And you can give a young child as young as, how old, probiotics?
It depends. I give children probiotics in infancy, particularly depending on the way they came into the world. So we do know that if born by C-section, that baby's not going to be exposed to the good bacteria in the vaginal tract when they're born. Birth choices as well. So a baby who is formula fed versus breastfed is going to have different bacteria as well. The breastfed baby being more protected.
And that's so interesting because there's so many things and a lot of parents are taking this all and trying to go, okay, what do we do? How do we do this? And it doesn't mean necessarily that you should all of a sudden, well, it's okay to give your child as young as 6 months some peanuts. I guess it's introducing it, right?
Yeah,
Small
introducing
doses
it.
and see if there's an effect
Exactly.
and whatever.
Over
right?
a week, and you want to see how they respond.
Dr. Olivia
Right?
Rose, thank you so much for coming
You're
in.
welcome. My pleasure.
All right. The News at Noon will be right back with your entertainment headlines. Thanks again.